actually a very obedient child, but sometimes I had a sour look on my face only because I was hot or tired or very ill. This is when my mother would say, "Such an ugly face. The Wangs won't want you, and our whole family will be disgraced." And I would cry to make my face uglier. "It's no use," my mother would say. "We have made a contract. It cannot be broken." And I would cry even harder. I didn't see my future husband until I was 8 or 9. The world that I knew was our family compound in a village outside of Taiwan. My family lived in a modest 2-story house with the smallest house in the same compound, which was really just 2 side-by-side rooms for our cook, an everyday servant, and their families. Our house sat on the little hill. We call this hill 3 steps to heaven, but it was really just centuries of hardened layers of mud washed up by the Fen River. On the east wall of our compound was the river, which my father said liked to swallow little children. He said it had once swallowed the whole town of Taiwan. The river ran brown in the summer. I read it already. The roads were so muddy and filled with giant potholes that no truck was willing to come to the house. All the heavy furniture bedding had left behind. The road was muddy and filled with giant potholes that no truck was willing to come to the house. All the heavy furnitures and beddings had no to be left behind. All these were promised to Wangs as my dowry. In this way, my family was quite practical. The dowry was enough, more than enough, said my father. But he could not stop my mother from giving me her chang, the necklace made out of the tablet of red jade. When she was put it around my neck, she acted very stern, and I knew she was very sad. "Obey your family, do not disgrace us," she said. "Act happy when you arrive. Really, you're very lucky." The Wang's house also sat next to the river. While our house had been flooded, their house was untouched. This is because their house sat higher up in the valley. And was the first time I realized the Wangs had a much better position than my family. They looked down on us, which made me understand why Wang Tai Tai and Chan Yu had such long noses. When I passed under the Wang's stone and wood gateway arch, I saw a large courtyard with 3 or 4 rows of small low buildings. Some were storing supplies, others for servants and their families. Behind these modest buildings stood the main house. I walked closer and stared at the house that would be my home for the rest of my life. The house had been in the family for many generations. It was not really so old or remarkable, but I could see it had grown up along the family. There were 4 stories, one for each generation: great-grandparents, grandparents, parents, and children. The house had a confused look. It had been hastily built, and then the rooms and floors and the wings and decoration had been added on every which manner, reflecting too many options. The first level was built of the river rocks held together by straw-filled mud. The second and the third level were made of smooth bricks with an exposed walkway to give it a look of a palace tower. Someone, probably Wang's Tai Tai, had added imperial dragon heads at the corner of the roof. Inside the house held different kind of pretense. The only nice room was a parlor on the first floor, which the Wang used to receive guests. This room contained tables and chairs carved out of red lacquer, fine pillows embroidered with the Wang's family name in the accent style, and many precious things that gave the look of wealth and old prestige. The rest of the house was plain and uncomfortable and noisy, with the complaints of 20 relatives. I think with each generation the house and grown smaller inside, more crowded. Each room had been cut in half to make 2. No big celebration was held when I arrived. Wang Tai Tai didn't have red banners greeting me in a fancy room on the first floor. Chan Yu was not there to greet me. Instead, Wang Tai Tai hurried me upstairs to the second floor and inside the kitchen, which was a place where my family children didn't usually go. This was the place for cooks and servants, so I knew my standing. The first day, I stood in my best padded dress at the low wooden table and began chop vegetables. I could not keep my hands steady. I missed my family, and my stomach felt bad knowing I had family arrived where my life said I belonged. But I was also determined to the honor of my parents' words, so Wang Taita could never accuse my mother of losing face. She would not win that from our family. And I was thinking, this I saw an old servant woman stopping over the same low table, gutting fish, looking at me from the corner of her eye. I was crying, and I was afraid she could tell Wang Tai Tai, so I gave a big smile and shouted, "What a lucky girl I am! I'm going to have the best life." And in this quickly thinking way, I must wave my knife too close to her nose, because she cried angrily, "Shema Benderen, what kind of fool are you?" And I knew right away this was a warning, because when I shouted that declaration of happiness, I almost tricked myself into thinking it might come true. I saw Tuan Yu at the evening meal. I was still a few inches taller than he, but he acted like a big warlord. I knew what kind of husband he would be, because he made special efforts to make me cry. He complained the soup was not hot enough and then spilled the bowl as if it were an accident. He waited until I had sat down to eat and then would demand another bowl of rice. He asked why I had such unpleasant face when I'm looking at him. Over the next few years, Wang Tai Tai instructed the other servants to teach me how to sew sharp corners on cases and embroidered my future family's name. How can a wife keep her husband's household in order if he has never dirtied her own hands? Wang Tai Tai used to say as she introduced me to a new task, "I don't think Wang Tai Tai's ever soiled her hand, but she was very good at calling out orders and criticism. Teach her to wash rice properly so that the water runs clear. Her husband cannot eat muddy rice." She'd say to a cook servant another time. She told the servant to show me how to clean a chamber pot. Make her put her own nose to the barrel to make sure it's clean. That was how I learned to be obedient wife. I learned to cook so well that I could smell if the meat stuffing was too salty before I even tasted it. I could sew such small stitches it looked as if embroidery had been painted on. And even Wang Tai Tai complains in a pedant manner that she could scarcely throw a dirty blouse on the floor before it was cleaned, and on her back once again, causing her to wear the same clothes every day. After a while, I didn't think it was terrible life. No, not really. After a while, I hurt so much, I didn't feel any difference. But I was happier than seeing everybody gobble down the shiny mushrooms and bamboo shoots I had helped to prepare that day. What was more satisfying than having a Wang Tai Tai snood and pop my head when I had finished combing her hair? 100 strokes. How much happier could I be after seeing Chan Yu eating whole bowl of noodles without once complaining about its taste or bad looks?